All right. Can I have you, Miss Ma'am? Okay, let's see. Is there a lot of noise back there? My goodness, don't hit me. Thank you. Okay. Hello, you guys. My name is Lexi. I've been working here at DDH for about 4 years now. And this is Miss Dolly. Dolly, I'm sure you can see him zipping around a little bit. Dolly just had a baby about 2.5 months ago, I think. Maybe we're closer to 3 months. I need to go back and look. But Dolly has just been taking care of her baby. She's been eating a ton of food, and it's time that we start slowly easing her back into work. With our mares, we like to keep them nice and fit even after they have a baby. We give them some time for their bodies to rest and recuperate, but she's been getting a little bored in her pen. She's been begging for a lot of attention. So we're gonna start lunging her. We'll just keep it nice and simple today, nice and easy. She is one of our horses that we got from auction back in January, and so I don't know a ton about her. We knew she was pregnant. We weren't really sure how far along. And so most of that time was spent doing really, really light work and really, really light riding until she was just telling us that she wasn't having it. And then we go ahead and we just let her sit out in the pasture, and then she had her baby back in May. And so it's time for her to go back to work. What I was trying to get at, sorry, let me back up. We just don't know a ton about her. She was super, super nice when we were riding, super, super sweet every time we work with her, but she was sold as Greenbroke. And so I have a feeling we're gonna fix some holes, especially now that she's had her baby. We're gonna fix some training holes. We're gonna start nice and basic and just do some light lunging today and see what holes we have just in driving her around in a circle. We might go back and start yielding her forequarters a little or her hindquarters depending on what she's telling me. But I'm gonna let Rusty, her little baby, just hang out with us. It'll be good for him to see everything in here and, hi Mama, and just see the tools that we use, see his mom working, stuff like that. So I'm gonna pick a nice space where we have plenty of space to work. Good girl. And I'm gonna come stand in the center of my arena. This is actually dead center in the arena, so hopefully you guys can see everything really good. I'm gonna let baby get a little drink because he's thirsty. So we'll just wait for a minute. He has been begging for attention too. So he's been a goofy ball and he likes to nibble on people. And then if he gets away with the nibbling, he figures out that he can bite people too. So usually if he's really sweet, we'll just leave him alone. Unless he's starting to get pushy, then we'll just take our hands and push him away from us so that he learns he can't be pushy. But he's still a baby, so I'm gonna let him get a drink before we get started because it will be a little while before he can get another one again. Good girl. Okay, so to drive her out, I'm gonna point what direction I want her to go. And she turned her nose, which was really nice of her. And then Rusty started getting a drink again, so now maybe we'll wait. Here you go, Mama. There we go. So I'm gonna hold my stick and string where I don't want her to go so that if I need to, I can bring the stick and string right next to her and cut her off with it instead of using just my body. So I'm gonna point, I'm gonna cluck. Now she's not going, so now I'm gonna nice and rhythmically use my stick and string. She's kind of a little nervous, so I'm just gonna keep my pressure the same and I'm gonna kind of walk up to her. She started turning around and going out the way I wanted, so I'm gonna actually release her right there and I'm gonna pet her with the stick and string. The petting just lets her know it's not here to hurt her, it's not here to bother her, and it just desensitizes her a little bit, but we'll try again. Good. She took a couple of steps and now I'm gonna drive her again. This bridge might be throwing us off, so I'm actually gonna come forward. Now she's not wanting to go, so I'm gonna kind of tap her on the neck with it. I'm not tapping super hard, but just enough to be like, come on, drive. There we go. Good girl. So with horses that I don't know, I try to be I'm gonna drive her around a little bit more. I try to be very aware of how much pressure I'm adding. The key though is that I wanna be nice and rhythmic and I wanna be consistent because I don't want my horse to become fearful of the stick and string. So I'm just gonna let her walk, kind of meander around. She does have, I'm sure you guys can see it, she has an abscess on her hind left. So I'm gonna be very aware of that. And if she tells me that it's hurting, I'm not gonna work her. We've been treating it for about a month now, so it should hopefully be done and gone away at this point. We have a farrier appointment to recheck it on Saturday. And she's been really good and she hasn't been lame for a really long time. I'm gonna ask her to go. Good girl. She hasn't been lame for a really long time, so I feel comfortable and confident working her and easing her back into work. But I do want to be aware of it, and so it is something that I'm going to be watching very carefully. So right now I'm just focusing on keeping her moving and keeping her driving forward. She's been doing pretty good. She was a little confused there at the beginning. When I was asking her to move out onto the circle, but now that she's onto it, she's doing pretty good. She's still stopping every now and again, like right here, she loves to stop. I think she's looking out at all the cars driving past. And then she likes to come and look at this wet spot right here in the middle, but she's been doing pretty good and she's taking to the corrections really nicely. I'm not having to like get all crazy with it. My goodness, Rusty. And she does really good about not paying attention to her baby. Some mares will feed off of their baby's energy. And so, no. So I like that she's just being calm and collected and letting Rusty run around and have some fun in here. Good girl. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask her to change directions. We've talked about this before, but right where their elbow and their body meets is their drive line, and so I'm trying to stay lined up with their drive line as I'm driving her forward. If I'm asking her to move out and move forward, I'm gonna stay kind of behind, like right here. But I'm gonna ask her to turn around, so now, well, after she drives forward a little bit better. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my stick and string, I'm gonna bring it under my lead rope, and I'm gonna switch my stick and string hand and my lead rope. I'm gonna slide down on my lead as I'm stepping in front of her. Then I'm gonna kind of use this wall to my advantage and cut her off right here. She's not really paying attention, so I might bop her a little bit. I might slide down a little more on my lead rope. Oh, sorry, Rusty. Kind of scared him there. So now I'm gonna get to my other side, and same thing, I'm gonna start tapping up on that neck and asking her to drive out. She's kind of being really stinky about it. So I'm gonna start getting a little more, not like mean, but a little more aggressive with it and pushing her out of my space a little bit more as I come up to her. Right there, she drove that shoulder out just a little bit, so I'm gonna release. Even though it wasn't totally what I wanted, it was a step in the right direction. So now I'm gonna drive her out again. I'm gonna kind of push her face away from me. And then right there, she kind of did it. I have a feeling she might turn to look at me again. Oh. She did the opposite. She turned to look at her baby. Good girl. So I'm gonna kind of drive her again, get her onto that circle. I want her to take nice, big, confident steps and know where she's going and be very methodical with where she's putting her feet. I don't want her to be hesitant. I want her to move out like she has a purpose. Rusty. So in that case, I just let her go because I didn't want Rusty getting caught up in a lead rope. I'm just gonna wait for her to slow down for a second. Good girl. I'm just gonna come step on this end. That was really nice of her, and I'm just gonna let her keep walking because she's just cool as a cucumber, just let me do it. Good girl. So we'll kind of make our way back over here to the center. Good girl. She's kind of already looking at me, so I'm gonna actually change directions right here. She's kind of in my space, so I'm gonna back her up just a little bit before I continue asking. There we go. I don't know if she's ever backed up, actually. or at least in that way. Good girl. So when I'm correcting her, I'm immediately going into my stick and string. But again, I'm not being super mean about it. She's moving nicely. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask for a trot. So I'm gonna point high with my hand like we did when we were sending her out. I'm gonna lean forward and cluck at her. She doesn't go, I'm gonna spank the ground behind her with my stick and string. And I'm gonna slowly make it louder and louder. She's not going, so I'm gonna reach up and tap her bum. I'm not hitting them hard. I wanna be nice to them, but I wanna still get my point across. Okay, Dolly. I learned my lesson last time. So I'm gonna keep asking her to drive. I spanked her a little too hard on that one, but she took it nicely, which was good. She's like, is this what you want? So I'm gonna keep holding. I'm gonna see if she'll stop for me. I'm gonna stay in a safe place. I'm not gonna go up behind her. I'm gonna keep my stick and string down. And again, she's been pretty calm and cool as a cucumber. I'm gonna see if I can drop this down. So I like to give my horses, like when things like this happen, I like to just let them think it out a little bit. There's no way for me to really turn her and get her to step out of this, so I'm just gonna let her keep walking forward. And there we go, she turned out of it. So now I'm gonna come forward a little bit because that bridge is kind of throwing her off. And I'm gonna kind of shorten up on my lead rope just a little bit. I think she just has too much space and she doesn't know what to do with it. Good, and then I'm just gonna keep driving her around me. She's got a really nice big trot. See, there she goes with that bridge again. We gotta stay up here, sis. We're gonna come all the way up here. So she's got a really nice big trot. I'm not gonna worry too much about her being like in a calm trot right now. I'm just gonna let her pick whatever pace she wants. She's not like super on edge. She just keeps getting confused by this bridge. So I'm gonna like keep driving her forward here and just tell her to ignore that bridge. Trying to stay over here, but she's not really having it. Don't hit the camera, thank you. Good. Okay, so I'm gonna change directions again. So I'm gonna bring my stick and string under, change my hand, slide. Drive that shoulder out. Good. That time I only had to lift up my hand and she picked up her trot. I'm gonna have her slow down just a little bit because I think that foot is kind of rubbing her other foot just a little bit. Her bandage is kind of coming off because it got on yesterday and we haven't changed it yet today. So it's kind of rubbing her other foot and it's kind of freaking her out a little bit. Good girl. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask her to stop. So I'm gonna slide this hand down that already has the leader up. I'm gonna pull towards my belly button and step towards her hip. And then I'm gonna kind of take my stick and string and point it at her butt. And I kind of get the feeling that maybe she doesn't know this. There you go. So I just kept sliding down every time I was asking her to yield her hindquarters to look at me. Good girl. And I just kept asking until she figured it out. So she's breathing kind of heavy, so I'm gonna let her have a little break for a minute. We're gonna work on our hindquarter yields, and then we'll probably be done for the day. So as I was asking her to yield her hindquarter there, she acted like she didn't truly know what I was asking until she got a little bit closer. So I have a feeling we just need to revisit that. So I'm gonna put my lead rope up and over her. I'm not gonna tie it in any way, but just so that it's out of the way, because I like them for lunging, these long lead ropes, but sometimes when we have a bunch of stuff in our hands, it gets kind of hard to hold that much rope. So I just set it up and over so it's out of my way. So I'm just gonna rub her hip, let her know again that the stick and string is not here to hurt her. She's kind of moving out on her own, so I'm just gonna stay right here until she stops again. Good girl. Okay, so she's already got her nose tipped at me. I'm gonna lean forward at her hip, and as I'm leaning forward, I'm pulling my hand up towards her wither. She kind of plowed me over right there, so I just used my elbow. There we go. She's not bad per se at them, but they definitely need a lot of work. So I'm gonna start tapping the air with my stick and string, and that got her to do a couple of good steps right there. So if she wasn't going, or maybe wasn't understanding, I'd take my stick and string and tap the air like I just did. Then I'd start tapping their bum. Then if I really needed to, I'd whack them. I generally don't whack them unless they're not moving, because I want them to listen to my body language, and I don't want them to be scared of my stick and string, which is why we rub them at the end too. And we do a lot of desensitizing with our stick and string too. So sometimes we'll have days where we just sit here and rub them with the stick and string so they don't ever have to move with the stick and string. Hi, what are we doing? So I just, again, be very aware of the pressure you're applying, especially with a horse who doesn't really understand it. I'm not gonna just add all the time. I'm gonna be rhythmic with the way that I add. So I'm gonna keep asking, and then right there she did one good step. Good girl. So right now I'm just looking for 1 to 2 good steps from her. She usually picks it up pretty quick. I'm gonna set her up in a way that's a little bit easier for her, because I don't want her yielding towards that bridge and getting confused. It was already confusing earlier when we were yielding, or when we were lunging over there. So I'm just gonna avoid it altogether so she doesn't even have to worry about it. Good, there's 1 good step. I'm gonna challenge her and see if I can get 2. She says, not yet. There's 2. Good girl. Okay, so she's getting pretty good on this other side, so I'm gonna, or this side, excuse me, so I'm gonna move on to the other side. Now she's like, oh, I'm gonna move. So same thing, we'll just stand here, we'll just wait for a minute. Good girl. So now I'm gonna lean forward. I'm gonna tip her nose a little bit. Oh, she did this side much better. So a lot like people, horses are left-handed or right-handed. They typically have one side that they're better at than the other. So the other side is the one that we have to work on just a little bit more to make sure that their muscles all work appropriately and equally, and make sure that they're good on all sides. Good girl. Good. So I like, even though I'm moving my stick and string around a little bit, I don't have a hand on my lead rope, and she's choosing to stay with me, which I love. Oh, big yawn, big stretch, my goodness. Okay, so we'll go ahead, we'll do it again. Excuse me. She said, Lexi, that was kind of weird, what'd you do? There we go, nice big steps. So one thing to consider too is maybe her abscess is bugging her on that other side, and that's why she doesn't want to bring it up and over and cross over. So I'm gonna be a little more forgiving on that side. I still have the expectation that she does it, but I'm not gonna have as high of an expectation as I do on this side. Once it gets better though, that will change and that expectation will be there. Good girl. Okay, so we're also gonna work on our backing up a little bit. So we're gonna start by tapping the air around her nose, just to get her to learn to take steps back. I'm gonna kind of push her back with my body here because I just don't want her crowding my space. So I'm gonna make sure she stays nice and straight towards me. I'm gonna lean forward, and then I'm gonna tap. Well, I'm kind of standing close to her, but I'm gonna tap back here. And then I'm gonna, sorry, I did that wrong. I should be tapping the air first right here in front of her. I'm gonna tip her nose straight, and then I'm gonna tap my lead rope. I went straight into tapping my lead rope last time, and that was wrong of me. I'm gonna give it just a little whack and take a step towards her. She didn't back up right there, so I'm just gonna keep asking. And I'm gonna ask her to kind of straighten out a little bit, so I'm gonna come cut her off over here so she can't just keep going forward. She's still not going, so I'm gonna come hit this clip that's right under her. She's still not going, I'm gonna whack her on the chest just a little bit. Again, we gotta be very mindful of our pressure. And then I'm gonna love her. Let her know that it's just fine. So if they were really having a hard time backing straight, I'd come line up on a wall. I like to give them the opportunity to not back up next to the wall because I feel like it sets them up, good girl, to make the mistake and kind of see where you need to go from there. Because the reality is most of the time you're not gonna have a wall you're backing up to. It's just gonna be out in the open. So I wanna make sure that I kind of know where I need to go based off of my horse's needs. She didn't quite back up there, she turned, so I'm gonna keep asking. Good, and that time she went after I smacked that clip. Rusty just is having the time of his life in here. So she does pretty good with direct pressure, asking her to back up, but I want her to learn to back up off of my body language a little bit better because I don't always want to be standing right in front of them to back them up. Good girl. And I want to make sure that they're, again, listening to my body language is what I want. Because sometimes, like in a trailer or a stall, I don't want to be that close to them all the time. I want to be able to just ask them to do something without standing right next to them or right in front of them. So I'm counting in increments of 4 before I move on to my higher pressure so that it's rhythmic, like we were talking about earlier, using rhythm to ask them to back up. And so at every 4, meaning 4 times I've asked her, that's when I increase my pressure to the next level, whatever that may look like. Oops, I missed that one. So she's getting better. I didn't have to whack her under the clip that time. I do want her facing me. I know she's got her baby right there, but she can perfectly see her baby from where she's standing. If he were behind her, I'd be a little more forgiving on that, but he's standing in a spot where she can see really nicely. So I want to make sure her attention is on me because she can see him. Good girl. Okay, so I'm gonna let her just kind of hang out in here now. She'll probably want to roll. They love to roll in the sand. She followed me, which I love. She says, okay, maybe don't hit that though, sis. Oops, that's loud. Come out here. Sometimes they like to follow you. It's usually a sign of leadership when they want to follow you. I had a feeling she wouldn't want to, just because her and I don't have a super great bond. Like I haven't worked with her a ton, again, because she had that baby and she's just been hanging out with him.